Welcome back to Barcelona for the fourth round of the FIM CEV Repsol Championship. Junior World Championship action is next on the bill here. And after a dramatic first race of the day involving these guys, we get to go again. Denis Ernchou gets another opportunity from pole position, as does Aleix Vieux after the pair of them crashed out halfway through the first race of the day. Conditions nearing perfect now after a few clouds in the sky earlier on in the day. They look to have dissipated, and at 2 o'clock local time, the sun is now shining. This is what happened earlier in the day. In fact, this is the European Talent Cup, guys, so we will get you the Junior World Championship action very shortly. Here it is, because it was Denis Ernchou that started from pole position and got a great start with Aleix Vieux and Xavi Artigas also coming through from row 3 of the grid contending. But as a result of an accident on the exit of turn 10, the red flags came out, so we had to do it all over again. This time, not the greatest of starts from Ernchou, with a bit of a wheelie, forced him to glance to his right-hand side on a couple of occasions because he was shuffled backwards to fourth, with Aleix Vieux taking advantage of Ernchou's not-so-perfect start. Artigas was again on the charge from the third row of the grid, making his way eventually up to the race lead with Barry Baltus, Jeremy Alcoba and Carlos Tatai all in contention as well. But with only 10 laps, it was a real dash for the race, and this moment on the exit of turn 5 was pivotal in the end. Aleix Vieux spat over the top, and Xavi Artigas and Denis Ernchou left with nowhere to go, meaning 3 of the front runners crashed out. He left these 3 to battle it out for the win, with Jeremy Alcoba, Carlos Tatai and Barry Baltus all fighting. In the end, it was Alcoba that took the checkered flag, but a 1.6 second penalty imposed on him saw him shuffled from first to third, and that man, Carlos Tatai, took the opening win of the day in the Junior World Championship. His first win in the series, full stop, backing up the form that we've seen him have in the Red Bull Rookies since that got underway. He's already picked up 2 victories there, and that is Elliot, a rather famous, iconic destination here in Barcelona.
It is, like I was saying yesterday, Jack, it's hard to not notice Mount Tibidabo. I'm sure you've heard it all in the Friends episode. It's made famous by Joey. But yeah, Jack didn't know what it was, and he's been living here, what, 4 months now?
Thank you very much for throwing me under the bus.
No worries, mate, no worries, anytime.
But the one thing I do know is the Barcelona-Catalunya circuit. It's 6 left-hand corners and 8 right-hand corners. We only had a 10-lap dash due to the red flag earlier in the day, but we are scheduled for 16 laps in this one, and fingers crossed we can see the full 16 laps unfold. We have ticked past 2 o'clock, and as a result, the green flag is waved in pit lane. The riders have made their way out onto the grid, and as I mentioned earlier, the clouds have dissipated. Blue sky is now shining down on us. 26 degrees outside, 30-degree track temperature. With 16 laps, possibly tyre wear may well come into effect. We'll have to wait and see on that one. There are no choices in terms of compounds for these guys to go on. In fact, no, I tell a lie, there is, because they have 2 options, either a softer or a harder compound. And as you can see, Denis Ernchou is making a bit of a change on the grid as a result of the increased track temperature from this morning. So a change of rear tyre for Ernchou, a slight change of tactics from the IO Red Bull KTM Junior squad. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out during the 16 laps. But regardless of what tyres he's got in, he needs a result, does Denis Ernchou.
Yeah, it really does. Good to see Denis okay after the crash like you just saw from race 1, and soon we'll see Aleix Vieux, another one of the crashes in that incident, high-siding quite viciously over the top on the exit of turn 5, and it looks like he's lined up on the grid and he's okay for race 2, so that's good to see for the Spaniard. In fact he's not.
No, Aleix Vieux, they're wheeling off. So although we saw him sat in the garage after the incident, and although disappointed, he looked okay, he got up, he walked away, he was sat in the garage with a consoling word from Nico Tuol. It looks like Aleix Vieux won't be competing in this second race, so it'll be Barry Baltus, the other of the Sama Qatar Angel Nieto machines, that will be their front runner now from third on the grid. So that is bitter disappointment for Aleix View. Oh no, there he is, he's got a technical problem. So it's Aleix View, it's gone from bad to worse. The bike was obviously collected in that opening race. They've had to build it back together, but he's had a problem on the sighting lap. So
whereabouts is that?
That is...
Is it turn 1?
No, I don't think it's turn 1. You can see Nico Tirol on the scooter there. He's about to go pick him up. It is turn 1. It is turn 1. So, but he's on the outside of the track. Why on earth have they wheeled it down that side of the track? Because that is a long way back from there. But with pit lane closed already, surely there's no chance that he's going to get out onto the grid. The race will get underway at 15:15 in 9 minutes' time. He's on the wrong part, on the wrong side of the circuit. There's no chance that they're going to get him back and out on the grid, which is bitter disappointment for Aleix View. He's fit, he's healthy, he was ready to go despite the high side, but unfortunately the bike's conked out on him on the sighting lap at turn 1.
Yeah, disaster for View, but here we see, holding the picture up of the late Andreas Perez.
The number 99 of Carlos Tatai, fresh from his first win in this championship earlier in the days, alongside Jeremy Alcoba, who I'm sure will have a grudge to settle in this one after the events of the first race.
Yeah, absolutely. Tatai, if you didn't see it, not actually crossing the line first. It was this man who took the checkered flag out of everyone first, but a 1.2 second penalty, was it, for shortcut in the first and second corners meant Alcoba would finish third in the end behind Tatai and Bautas, so he'll be looking to cross the line first again this time, but not have a penalty, so he takes his first win of the season.
Was with the Estrella Galicia junior team for a couple of years. He has now moved across to the Gliese Academy squad aboard the Husqvarna, but as you can see, still wearing the Estrella junior team cap. He's got a couple of badges on his levers to show that he still receives a little bit of backing, a little bit of help from them as well. And at 17 years of age, he's been in this championship for the past 2 years, 5th in 2017, 4th in 2018. He does now lead the championship. You have to feel that this is his year. He needs to be moving up to the World Championship next year. Yeah,
100%. He's one of them names that seems to have been round forever, really, especially in who's here, Aleix View, doing all he can. Fair play to the kid to get back
up pit lane. So he's wheeling it back up pit lane.
Yeah, the wrong way at pit lane, but that shouldn't matter too much.
As long as you're not with an engine running back up pit lane, you're okay. So he's got 5 minutes, as you can see. You can't miss that. The big 5-minute board. The Angel Nieto squads, the Aspar team, are one of the best in the paddocks, whether you're talking CEV, whether you're talking the World Championship. They have been around forever. So if anybody can somehow get that machine back together, it will be them, but at best he's looking at a back of the grid start or even a pit lane start. So those are the two options. If he can get it going,
looks like they have got it going from
and start the warm. If they can get it going and start the warm-up lap from pit lane, he'll be able to take his place on the back of the grid. If they can't get it going before the warm-up lap, then he can roll down and start the race from pit lane. So he has got a couple of opportunities. That's Nico Tirol, the former 125cc world champion, just having a word with him. Meanwhile, Barry Baltus, you can see there, the Belgian rider on the front row of the grid, his calmness personified. He's not too bothered about his teammates' antics at the moment. Here is a man that I think I fancy for a race win here, Xavi Artigas. He's yet to win in the Junior World Championship. He's the reigning European Talent Cup champion, and in both the first run of the Junior World Championship race before it was red flagged, and then in the second one before he was caught up in View's incident, he had the pace to go at the front. He's had to come through from the third row of the grid, but did it quite easily on both occasions. Yeah,
Artigas definitely wants to watch it in this second race. Nothing he could have done about the crash with Earnshaw in View, like we've mentioned before. And yeah, I agree, Jack, 100% want to watch from 8th on the grid both times. There, as we see, current junior Moto3 world champion Raul Fernandez, brother of Adrian, who incidentally starts alongside Javi Artigas in 9th place.
He is the, and unsurprisingly, he's stood alongside his brother, number 25, Pitito, they call him, brother of Raul Fernandez, because he's the younger brother. So Raul Fernandez, the reigning Moto3 junior world champion, now of course as part of the Aspar squad in the World Championship. Sorry, he'll be back here in a week's time, gets a kiss off his brother. Nice bit of brotherly love. Meanwhile, the Lace View, the work continues down there. Time is ticking away. I don't think he's going to be able to start this warm-up lap. It'll be interesting to see what the issue is.
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? We're not getting any information up here in the commentary box, so we can't unfortunately tell you what the issue is, but hopefully for View he can get started. But
it doesn't look too terminal. The fact that they haven't taken any of the fairings off at all would indicate that it clearly is a minor problem that they feel that can get fixed rather quickly. But time is ticking away, and I think at best now we're looking at a pit lane start for Aleix View, which would ultimately write him off. Oh, here he comes, they've got it on the starter motor. If he can start the warm-up lap, then he will be able to take his place from the back row of the grid. Again, it's an almighty challenge for Aleix View, but it does give him a better opportunity than it would do from a pit lane start. So here he comes, Aleix View. Great work from the Sama Qatar Angel Nieto squad to get that bike going. You can hear it thundering down pit lane. He's going to be able to get to the exit of pit lane and start the warm-up lap, but there will be a space free on the front row of the grid. Second spot will be vacated, which means it's a clear run for the number 52 of Jeremy Alcoba. Aleix View, it looks like, will have to start from the back of the grid. Yeah,
Christmas come early for Jeremy Alcoba. He's got almost a clear view down into turn one. If he gets a great launch, he's got some space there to get himself into as Aleix View psychs himself up. What they're running down pit lane 4.
Yeah, they're not too pleased just yet. They are the Angel Nieto squad members sprinting down pit lane, 2 of them. We've got a minute to go. Engines on, clear the grid. And here is the grid for the second of the 2 Junior World Championship races here in Barcelona.
Denis Earnshaw is your pole man from what would be Aleix View. He's now starting in pit lane with Barry Bautas, Carlos Satai, Alcoba and Gerald Riu completing the first 2 rows with Pizzoli, Artigas and Adrian Fernandez on row 3. Row 4 is Stefano Nepper, Ryusu Yamanaka and Kevin Zanoni with Kawakami, Noguchi, Koffler, Holgado, Hiral and Bertelli completing rows 4 to 6. Dupasquier, Iglesias and the British rider Max Cook are on row 7. Row 8 is David Salvador. Great ride from him in the first race with Caniello and Ikmal on row 8. Row 9 was Matteo Pataka, Bill Van Erd and Aaron Polanco with row 10 Haruku Arita, Andre Vosicek and Idal Mahadi on row 10. Ryan van der Lagmat on row 11. Simon Jesperson joining him with Nicola Cabrero. And on row 12 is David Salvador, who was the man moving up through the group with Luis Verdugo, Philip Brahek, Joel Kelso, Alex Dief and Matteo Ripamonti completing your Moto3 grid here in Catalunya.
So the motor away on the warm-up lap. We'll just keep our eyes on the exit to pit lane to see the number 81 of View exit. We did see 2 of his team members sprinting down, but they seem pretty happy. There he goes in the back of the picture, number 81 leaving pit lane. So we'll start from the back of the grid. Not ideal, but given the fact that he broke down on... Oh no, he's got a problem straight away. Oh, what a disaster. He's not even got out of the pit lane exit and the bike has stopped on him once again. Well, surely it's not going to be 3rd time lucky for Aleix View now. The marshals will have to tell him to wheel off, but the bike they thought had got going on the run from the garage down to the pit lane exit, and then he's barely done the same distance again, and it's cut out on him again.
Yeah, I think the team thought he'd got away fine, and they've just turned around to notice he's running back at pit lane.
With them on the warm-up lap.
Absolute disaster for Aleix View.
Yeah, he's going to have to get out of the way. There's absolutely no chance. Surely 3rd time lucky. We don't know what the issue is, but...
It must be fairly terminal if they've started the bike, once restarted it again, and it's conked out. So, yeah, not sure what the problem is, but disaster for Aleix View.
But it seems so weird that they can get the bike going, he can run it down to the exit of pit lane, and they didn't have the starter motor with him, so they'll have had it ticking over on the exit of pit lane. And then as soon as he was able to go, he's barely got out of the exit of pit lane before it stopped him again. The marshals are doing their work, trying to push him back towards pit lane, but with the grid only a couple of corners away from forming up, surely that is that for Aleix View. Meanwhile, the championship is pretty tight.
Very tight, yeah.
Just a point clear of Barry Baltus at the moment with the injured Yuki Cooney. Not a lot he can do. He's here this weekend watching on, but his championship lead has already been lost. how much further back will he fall into deficit after this one? We'll have to wait and see. But it's Denis Eunchu on pole position. In case you missed the first race, the pace in qualifying was super hot. In fact, the hottest that we have ever seen here in Barcelona. A 1:48.5 from the Turkish rider, 0.3 of a second quicker than Enea Bastianini managed on way to Moto3 World Championship pole 12 months ago at the Catalan Grand Prix. So the fastest ever Moto3 lap from Denis Eunchu. Meanwhile, work continues for a third time on Aleix View's bike. Surely the clock is ticking out. The grid is formed now. Surely it's game over for Aleix View. Meanwhile, his teammate Barry Baltus continues. View has been fallen onto his backside.
Doesn't look good for the number 81 rider, unfortunately. Even if he does start now, he's going to have to start from pit lane, and he'll be quite far behind the last of the riders on the grid. So, yeah, not good for Aleix View, but we're about to get underway.
Meanwhile, Baltus' teammate is there on the outside of the front row. Eunchu on pole and a gap for Alcoba through fifth, but in fact it's going to be Carlos Tatai who will storm through that gap left by Aleix View. What a start from the race one winner, Carlos Tatai. Marches into the lead, but Eunchu from pole position is tucked in behind him, and he's going to look for a move into turn one to take the whole shot, which he duly does, squirreling from left to right. Will he get it stopped? Just about. He'll take the whole shot. Eunchu leads through the first sector, and for a third time View leaves, and for a third time the bikers quit on him. That is that for Aleix View. No third time lucky for him. A shake of the head. Disappointment for the number 81 after high-siding earlier in the day, but back at the front his teammate is fighting through. There goes Barry Baltus under the inside of Carlos Tatai. Meanwhile, Eunchu out front is looking fairly strong. Oh, follower in the background. That looks like a couple of riders gone down. No indication of who it is just yet. It certainly wasn't any of the guys in the leading group, but that was at turn 4, I think it was. We're now into turn 5. Eunchu still leads with Baltus there in third, and Alcoba now up to third.
Yeah, just the start Denis Eunchu wanted before the red flag in race one. This is exactly what he did. Got to the front, and now he's looking to pull away, and it's Barry Baltus, the man who was technically second on the grid for this race start, and Alcoba, a championship leader, chasing him down in third with Tatai, who nearly got the lead. Well, he did get the lead, but he got shoved out the way from Eunchu into turn one, is fourth place.
Julian Giral was the man that went down at turn 4 during the opening stages. Meanwhile, there goes Alcoba looking for a race win after it was snatched from him, you could possibly argue cruelly, in the first race of the day here in Barcelona. But he's got a job on his hands because Eunchu is looking pretty strong. He's now finally getting the opportunity to show the pace that he showed in qualifying.
Yeah, there is Julian Giral, who we've just mentioned has crashed at turn 4 on the opening lap. But we see Eunchu with a 0.2 second gap. Let's see what it is over the line. Has it increased? No, 0.2 seconds. And again, Artigas, he's up to fifth. Another great start for the young Spaniard, the number 24 there on the Leopard machine. Is he going to make a move on Tatai for fourth place? Late on the brakes. Ooh, that's tight. I don't think he is, as Barry Baltus nearly gets hold of Denis Eunchu, and it's Alcoba now in the lead of the race.
And there we get a quick shot of Aleix View stomping back towards the garage. A day to forget for him. But at the front, Barry Baltus could be on course for a day to remember, because if he can get the better of Alcoba in this one, who currently leads, he will hold the championship lead into Aragon. But at the moment, Alcoba's out front, looking for a first victory here in Barcelona after having to settle for 3 podium finishes in a row, going all the way back to last year.
Yeah, we've got a front group of 7 forming the Gerard Riou on the Baco Racing Team. Number 67, just saw him there, firing his way down into now turn 6 and 7. Flick it right for 8 as Alcoba leads the pack from Denis Eunchu and Barry Baltus into the fast sweeping turn 9, and down to turn 10 we go for one of the most popular overtaking spots on the track. Is anyone going to make a move this lap though? Denis Eunchu pulls out the slipstream. I think he's going to take the lead from Alcoba, who's broke latest. That's close. Alcoba took a look. I think he's run wide though.
Yeah, very late on the brakes was Eunchu. Opportunity possibly to squeeze back under the inside. Meanwhile, Artigas again is making his way through. There goes Alcoba wide, and it's going to allow Eunchu and Baltus to squeeze through as a result of that mistake at turn 12. Artigas now in a good look. Oh, that's a proper lunge coming from Carlos Tatai. Won the opening race of the year full of confidence, and he had a big look up the inside as they went into turn 13. In fact, it's cost him dearly because now his teammate Stefano Nepper has squeezed back past him. So it's Eunchu that will lead over the line with 2 laps completed. Alcoba tucked in behind him though, as is Baltus as well, as he swings from right to left across Alcoba and Baltus. Unfortunately, no contact.
Tatai looking up the inside of his teammate Nepa, but can't quite get it done, as Earnshaw weaving all over the place there on the front straight, but it works. He holds his lead into turn 1 as Alcoba moves into turn 2 past Bautas again. Earnshaw running slightly wide there, but he's kept the line, so he still holds the race lead. The pole sitter, like we've mentioned before, an incredibly important race for the number 53 after a disastrous start to his day here, a disastrous opening couple of rounds in the FIM CEV in 2019. Alcoba looks, but not quite.
And we've got a leading group of 8 riders now, all the way back to Ayusi Yamanaka in 8th place. That is number 23, David Pizzoli. So disappointment for him, apart from the Leopard squad, but they have got Xavi Artigas in that front group at the moment. Pizzoli was on the podium in Valencia last time out, but that's now his 3rd crash of the season for the Italian. Meanwhile, as we mentioned, Yamanaka on the back of the group. He was one of the race winners in Valencia last time out, and he did it from a similar position. He was a long way back on the grid, but eventually battled his way through. So are we going to see a similar performance this time around? There's Artigas with a big look up the inside. Tatai looking to move around the outside. Is he going to find a way through? Artigas is trying to hold on, and he's going to run wide here surely at turn 12, which allows Tatai to finally get the job done and move into 4th place. Well, those two scrapping is just still out at Earnshaw, Alcoba and Bautas to edge ever so slightly clear now.
Yeah, like you say, ever so slightly cleared, 3/10 gap, but I'm pretty sure that will be made back up on this straight with the slipstream effect coming into play, but it gets squiggly on the exit. Who was that? Was it Tatai? Yeah, it was Tatai, and here comes Stefano Nepa, his teammate, yeah, as Alcoba pulls out the slipstream from Earnshaw. Is it going to be Barry Bautas, though, the 3rd place man? Coming up the inside, who's latest on the brakes? I think it's his championship leader, Alcoba, as Dennis Earnshaw slips to 3rd behind the Husqvarna and his fellow KTM rider, Bautas.
So Alcoba now back at the front, Bautas in 2nd. This is exactly as we saw in the first race. Is that Isam Ikmal? He went down in the first race and he's gone down again. Isam Ikmal, part of the Sepang International Circuit Junior squad. Another crash for him, disappointment for the young Malaysian. Back at the front though, as we said, just like it was earlier in the day, Alcoba and Bautas battling at the front. Tatai's in there as well. That's one of the junior talent team's
Noguchi,
squad.
I think, is it?
It is, Haruki Noguchi, after a great ride through to 5th place, I think it was, in the opening race of the day. Technical problems for the Japanese rider. Oh, in fact, no, a crash. He's got tagged up with, who was that? Was that Holgado? Yeah, I think it was. Number 96 of Holgado's gone down as well. So the young Spaniard and the young Japanese rider were both out of contention early on in this one. So suddenly, the junior team Estrella Galizia have gone down from 3 riders just to 1. But fortunate for them, it's the number 6 of Yamanaka, who's slowly but surely creeping up the order. He's now up to 7th ahead of Gerard Rio, as here comes Artigas, big look up the inside, and gets his own back on Carlos Tatai after he dusted him up a lap previous.
Yeah, that was brave from the number 24 rider, but bravery normally prevails, and he is now up to 4th with Dennis Earnshaw 3rd and Alcoba leading from Bautas, as, yeah, like you say, Tatai just losing out to Artigas there. But going back to Yamanaka, he won the race in won the 2nd race in Valencia from a last lap move from the injured Yuki Kuni. So yeah, he's well up for a battle into the latter stages, is Yamanaka, and we didn't really see him feature in race 1, so this is good from the number 6 rider at the back of this group.
Here comes Bautas. I thought he was going to have a big lunge up the inside into turn 1, but that Husqvarna of Alcoba looks strong out front, as does the IO KTM, although you would expect that from a full factory squad like that, from Dennis Earnshaw motoring past the KTM, the other KTM, should I say, of Barry Bautas. Meanwhile, the Honda of Xavi Artigas just holding on in 4th place, despite running ever so slightly wide. Those guys in 4th just need to be careful that they don't allow this trio to break clear. They have got 0.3 of a second from Bautas' rear wheel to Artigas' front wheel at that last checkpoint. So Artigas is closing in now, so it are going to be back to a leading group of 8, despite that lunge from Stefano Nepa up the inside of his teammate Tatai.
Yeah, the two teammates are definitely duffing each other up here in the opening stages of race 2 here in Barcelona, but back at the front it's Alcoba who leads the freight train. There's the top 4, Artigas out at the back of that, just getting a slight advantage over Tatai. As we've just mentioned, Tatai and his teammate Nepa battling it out in these opening stages with Gerard Rio at the rear of the group, the number 67 there. Who is going to make a move? Is it Dennis Earnshaw for the lead? Artigas, that's a brave move again from the number 24 rider, but he makes it stick, and Earnshaw is now your race leader.
Well, I thought Artigas had got that all wrong there. Just the way it was squirreling. For a moment you thought, oh no, he's going to collect a couple of the riders in front of him, but he got it stopped, he got it done. He's up to third place now, and just like we saw early in the day, slowly but surely he's picked off place after place, and he's now into the fight for the lead. Is Xavi Artigas, but he's got Earnshaww and Alcoba to deal with ahead of him. Let's see the power of the Honda. In the World Championship we've seen, it's been by far and away stronger than the KTMs, but here in the Junior World Championship, the KTMs look just a little bit stronger than the Honda, because he's just been motored past. Although here comes Yamanaka on a Honda himself. Can he get up the inside of Baltus? No, he can't. But there's a change for the lead. There goes Earnshaww. Wide goes Artigas. Opportunity for Baltus and Yamanaka on the flick back to get back under the inside, but he just about holds on. Fourth place for him, but Earnshaww back at the front.
Yeah, what did we have there? About 3, 4, 5 riders abreast going into turn one. Absolutely epic racing, as we are renowned to seeing in this FIM Junior Moto3 World Championship. But it's Dennis Earnshaww, your pole sitter, who leads the race once more from Alcoba and Baltus and Artigas as we come into turn 5 left-hander. Artigas again looking up the inside, and he makes it stick. Great move. Does he run wide? I don't think he does. Nice move from the reigning European Talent Cup champion, who now has his sights set on the number 52 of Alcoba.
He's so good on the brakes, is Artigas. We've seen it in this race and the one previous as well, at turn 10 and at turn 5. Every lap he's able to squeeze up the inside on the brakes of someone else, regardless of who's in front of him. Yeah,
he really is, and I think we'll watch here down into turn 10. Last 2 laps he's made a move stick very cleanly, so I think he's going to look to do it again on Alcoba. Or is it going to be for the race lead? Is he going to get to him? One? No, not quite, but he does get Alcoba again, proving once again, like you say, Jack, incredibly strong on the brakes from the number 24 Leopard racing rider.
Loves that move into turn 10. He just parks it at the apex. It's not good for a fast lap, but it's good for picking up. It's good for picking up places in this race, and he's now made his way through to second. Earnshaww coming under pressure.
Yeah, coming on to complete another lap. It might not be the quickest way around, Jack, but he's not doing bad to stick in second so far. And can he get into first? Let's see what the Strip Steed can do. The Honda right in the tailpipes of Dennis Earnshaw's KTM, but we see the Husqvarna of Alcoba and Baltus swarming, and there's Yamanaka and Stefano Nepper. They're all at it. Who's going to lead it to turn 1?
Yamanaka got the best run out of there. He had a 4-rider slipstream ahead of him, and as a result he can pick up 2 places. Earnshaw's wide, Alcoba's ever so slightly wide as well, but he just about holds on as they're swapping places for fun here, and somehow Yamanaka's popped out in 3rd place. Artigas, I thought he was squeezing up the inside of Baltus there, but he eventually gave best to the Belgian, so somehow Earnshaww leads, but I don't think it's going to be for long. Here comes Artigas again, looking up the inside of Baltus, but no way through. And from nowhere, we mentioned a couple of laps ago, Yamanaka on the back of the group in 8.
Oh, what's Alcoba doing there?
Keep your eye on him, because he's going to make his way through. That's exactly what he's done. Artigas, there he goes, squeezing up into 4th. No, he's not. Baltus is stronger, so he has to remain in 5th place.
Yeah, we're keeping an eye now. Yamanaka and Alcoba was there as well. I'm not sure what he's doing, looking behind him, coming into turn 5, but all he'll see is 6 riders fiercely battling it out behind him. But yeah, Earnshaww leading the race.
One man we've not mentioned for quite a while is Carlos Tatai. He won the first race of the day, but he seems quite comfortable in a rhythm there in 6th place, possibly just watching what's going on ahead of us. Here comes Alcoba. He'll hit the front now, not for the first time today. And right on cue, there's Carlos Tatai making a move for 5th place, as is Barry Baltus as well. So it's all change at the front with Tatai, Baltus and Alcoba making a move. Oh, it's not the first time that Alcoba's done that. Run ever so slightly wide again, and that is an absolute carbon copy, because last time both Earnshaww and Baltus were able to squeeze back past, and they've done it again.
Yeah, Baltus not holding back there, taking full advantage. Earnshaww going through, and then Baltus taking no prisoners as well. He's going through at the same time as we see Tatai duffing up Artigas at Artigas's spot, shall we say, at turn 10, getting his taste of his own medicine. But who is going to lead into turn 1? Earnshaww currently, but Alcoba's there, Baltus is there. Is it going to be Yamanaka?
6 abreast into turn 1. Yamanaka looked favourite, but it's Earnshaww on the brakes that'll hold on to it. Yamanaka.
Who's that wide?
Oh, that is Stefano Nepper that's had to run a long way wide. So he will rejoin. Well, surely he's not going to get a penalty for that, because he's imposed a penalty on himself. I don't think he had a long lap penalty imposed on him. Meanwhile, who's that? Nicola Carraro is getting a taxi ride back after an off on the board the TM. He's the teammate to Kevin Zanoni. But back at the front, we'll concentrate on the fight for the lead, because with 8 riders all scrapping it out, or possibly 7 now with Stefano Nepper shuffled out of contention, it's still Earnshaww that leads. Baltus is there in second, Alcoba third, and Yamanaka, after being third half a lap ago, is now back in sixth place.
Yeah, it's definitely a front group of 7 now after that mistake from Stefano Nepper. Is that Alcoba going to be inside? No, not quite. Eyes deceiving me there, going down into turn 9, but heading to turn 10 again. Who is going to make a move stick?
Baltus
We've seen
got a
it
great
every
drive.
lap. He has, hasn't he? But Alcoba pops out from the bubble.
He's going to look up the inside, does
Baltus,
Baltus, but as is Alcoba as well, from third to first. Alcoba hits the front, he's going to run wide. Opportunity for Baltus to move straight back patch, which he duly does. And Earnshaw now back in third place. Oh, what a race we've got on here. Baltus hits the front, Alcoba there as well. But do not rule out the likes of Artigas, Tatai and Yamanaka. And we've barely mentioned Gerard Riou. It feels like he's just hanging on at the back of this group, but there's moves coming from him.
Absolutely, he's just sitting there licking his lips saying, you can do your stuff, boys, duff each other up and I'll pick up the pieces. But here he is, Baltus, heading the group into turn 1. But as we've seen almost every lap, like we do with turn 10, there's going to be changes. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Dennis Earnshaw late on the brakes? I think it's going to be Alcoba who's going to hold it.
Well, that live championship has absolutely no chance of keeping up with the moves that are going on. As it stood about, what, 2 corners ago, it was Alcoba leading by 4 points, and now that's changed because there's a points differential of a point between Alcoba and Baltus at the front. So if it stays as it is, 6 points, but with 8 laps to go, we'll throw that out the window. We'll concentrate on that once they cross the checkered flag. A bit of a mistake, a bit of a bobble from Artigas, but just about holds on. Alcoba and Baltus have got themselves a little bit of room there. Earnshaw is pumping his legs as he goes down the box into turn 5. He will be slightly concerned at the fact that those two are just starting to break clear.
Yeah, I was going to mention, sorry Jack, I was going to mention that because it was literally coming out of turn 1 and turn 2 where they got the gap, so I'm not sure what went wrong for the guys behind. But yeah, Alcoba and Baltus 0.3 lead over Earnshaw now, which is the biggest it's ever been. So,
but as we've seen before, once they get onto the start-finish straight, that will
that's
be
going to diminish.
Back in again. Here comes Baltus again, looking up the inside. At
oh, that's going to be tight. That's tight. Oh, so close. Wow.
3 riders trying to get into one space. It was Yamanaka, it was Earnshaw and Carlos Tatai, all going for the same bit of tarmac. And it's Earnshaw and Tatai that have come out as the big losers in that one. They move way out of contention now, back to what, 6th and 8th place, because Nepper's managed to get in front of his teammate Carlos Tatai. So with 8 laps to go now, 7 laps remaining, a big challenge for Earnshaw. Again, so unlucky, he's just in the wrong place at the wrong time once again. And after being in contention for the race win, it looks like now a race win is possibly still too far out of reach for him now. He is a long way back. Yeah,
7 laps to go. There's still enough time for him to catch up, of course, but it's a tall order. And yeah, like you say, that was so close for a disaster for Earnshaw and for Tatai.
Somehow they all stayed on though. Meanwhile, that incident has allowed this front 3 to break clear. Almost just like we saw in race 1, where an incident again involving Earnshaw saw the 3 at the front break clear. And it's Alcoba, Baltus, and this time Artigas at the front. Artigas was one that were caught up in an incident right here at turn 5 when Aleix Vieux was spat over the top in a monster high side. This time Artigas has stayed out of trouble. And
let's see it again then. What happened?
So it was the move from Yamanaka who got it all wrong, and Earnshaw was already shuffled out from Artigas. And then after getting an elbow off Artigas, he then got another elbow, this time coming from Yamanaka and Carlos Tatai.
Raul Fernandez looking on there, the reigning champion.
Meanwhile, back at the front, the leading trio are a 2.5 seconds clear. But with 7 laps remaining, if they continue to fight in the same manner as we've seen over the first 9 laps of this one, then there's every chance that Yamanaka, Riou and the rest behind can close right back in on the rear once again.
Artigas really does love that turn 10. He looks every single lap like he's going to make a move, but didn't quite get it done there. But as we come across the line, it will be 6 laps to go now, and it looks like these 3 are going to be the ones challenging for the win and the podium. But let's not predict anything, because anything can happen, as we've seen already numerous times today. And here comes Baltus out of the slipstream behind the Husqvarna. Is he going to make a move into turn 1, or is it going to be Artigas pulling out the double slipstream? Let's see who's going to be latest on the brakes. I think it's going to be Alcoba. Yes, it is. Nicely done from your race leader, as Earnshaw now moves up into 4th place. He has got his eyes set on the well, a seriously important podium for him. If not, fourth place is going to have to do for the Turk.
It is. He needs to get himself onto the podium. Earnchu, knowing the importance of it, is 2.2 seconds away from Artigas. For me, with 5.5 laps remaining, it's just a stretch too far for the Turk. He's been so unlucky again just to get caught up in the wrong incident. But unfortunately, that's the way it goes. A big look over the shoulder from Alcoba. That's interesting. He's only just come across the start-finish line to see that the gap behind is +0. Quite possibly he didn't get the information on his board that it was a group of 3, so he was possibly not looking at Baltus or the 24 of Artigas. He was just looking to see how far away Earnchu and the rest are in 4th place, and I'm sure he'll be quite pleased to see that instead of having 6 or 7 men to deal with, he's only got the 2. Not that that makes his challenge any easier.
Of course, yeah, and that's exactly where he looked over a few laps ago as well, so he obviously feels comfortable looking over his shoulder there. Here we go, Artigas at his favourite turn 10, moves past Baltus into 2nd place. Another spot-on move from the reigning European Talent Cup champion, who now has his sights set on the championship leader in 1st. But can he do it? Let's find out.
He's pin perfect every time from Artigas. He looks so good. Just 15 years of age, as is Barry Baltus as well. Meanwhile, that's Adrian Fernandez just getting a word in his ear. I'm sure he will do very shortly from his brother Raul Fernandez there. A fist pump, disappointment for him. He's had to pull down pit lane. Meanwhile, look at this gaggle of riders. I think this is the battle with Kevin Zanoni, all for a top 10 place. Zanoni 10th at the moment. That goes all the way back to quite possibly
all 3 abreast into turn 1, Jack.
It is Baltus up the inside. My attention drawn ever so slightly by the battle for 10th, but I'll keep my eyes focused on the screen in front of us, because blink and you'll miss it stuff here at the front of the Junior World Championship. Live from Barcelona, Baltus leads with Jeremy Alcoba in 2nd and Xavi Artigas in 3rd. These 3 are now well clear after an incident involving Yamanaka, Earnchu and Tatai. Fortunately, nobody went down, but it did give these trio the opportunity to break clear, an opportunity of duly accepted. They're now 2.5 seconds up the road from that man, Dennis Earnchu, the number 53 in the background on board the Red Bull KTM. But with 4.5 laps remaining, P1, the 25 points, is going to be decided between these 3 riders. Yeah, just confirmation on our screens, the number 82 of Stefano Nepper not getting a time penalty for when he ran wide at turns 1 and 2, so that's good to see, as Alcoba again looks over his shoulder. Concentrate on the road ahead. Yeah, that is strange. That gives you the feeling or the impression that he's not that confident. The fact that he's constantly looking over his shoulder, either the fact that he's nervous, he's not confident, but Baltus out front or even Artigas, you would have to imagine once they hit the front, I don't think you get any of those sort of antics. They would have their head down and away they go. And when you've got someone in front of you and a man behind you, as he will know as well, because he's got his pit board last time around to say +0, he's already had a look to know that there's nobody closing in on them. Don't worry about them, you just worry about the men in front of you. Yeah, I totally agree, Jack, but he's obviously doing it for a reason, so, and it's working. He's in 2nd, so let's see if he can get the run to the line. It'll be interesting to see if they can get the run to the line before the checkered flag. He almost did it there, so that's going to be important on the final lap as Baltus leads into turn 1. Well, he got the run out to the final corner in the first race and took the checkered flag, but the penalty imposed on him saw him shuffled down to 3rd place. So he has got a vendetta after that one, as Jeremy Alcoba, bitterly disappointed in Parc Ferme. You could possibly put an argument together to argue quite rightly so. He was unlucky to get the time penalty. Look at this gaggle. And this is the fight for 10th place. With now, Bertelli is number 28. Yeah, Max Koffler now leading that one, and Bertelli is the man in, where is he? Matteo Bertelli is quite a long way down the order. 12th. He's in this gaggle of riders somewhere. But with a 1.8 second penalty coming his way, you can pretty much count him out of finishing inside the top 10. He might come across the line in 10th, but with then about 9 or 10 riders, all within a second behind him, he could quickly shuffle down outside of the point. Yeah, down to 19th is Jason Dupasque, all within that gaggle. So yeah, looking like there's no points on the board for Bertelli, but back at the front is still Alcoba leading from Baltus and Artigas, and unfortunately for Dennis Earnchu, I don't think he's going to make up this time to the podium. So 4th place, unfortunately for the Turk. Well, he's down to 5th now because Carlos Tatai's got the better of him, but here comes Artigas and Baltus 3 abreast into turn 10. Is going to be Artigas? No, not quite. Baltus who takes the lead, but can Artigas get in 2nd? No, Alcoba holds it around the outside, but a good move there from the number 7. Yeah, retakes the lead as he has done. All three of those riders have had their opportunity at leading in this one. We're into the final sector of the lap now. They'll flick right into turn 13 before the final turn 14. Another penalty gone the way adjacent to Pasquier. 19th at the moment, so with a 1.1 second penalty, he won't be finishing inside the points. But the big question is who's going to pick up the 25 points in this one? Alcoba and Baltas side by side. That Husqvarna has some real grunt on it. He has motored past the KTM of Barry Baltas there, and the Honda of Artigas looks pretty good as well, but the Husqvarna not...
Oh, that's tight from Baltas in the braking zone.
And
that's tight as well.
Contact between Gerard Rio and Carlos Tatai, but they just about hang on which of them is going to come out on top into turn 3. Gerard Rio just holding on, but around the outside goes Tatai and Yamanaka as well in this fight for 5th place, because Earnchu is just out front in the fight for 4th. But back at the front, Alcoba leads from Baltas and Artigas. Meanwhile, the scrap continues behind for 5th and 4th.
Yeah, Denis Earnchu getting a little bit of a gap there. Oh, that was tight. Is Artigas going to make a move into turn 5? I think he is. Not quite. Baltas shuts the door on him. Well played from the number 7 of Baltas, but again, it's Alcoba who leads, and your guess is as good as mine, Jack, who's going to win this race, because this is going to go right down to the wire.
Xavi Artigas aiming for his first win in the Junior World Championship after winning the European Talent Cup last year. Barry Baltas won in Estoril. Meanwhile, Jeremy Alcoba hasn't stood on the top step of the Junior World Championship podium in over 2.5 years. It was the final round of 2017 when he last tasted success. Meanwhile, Husqvarna haven't tasted success since the final round of 2016. But he might have to wait a little bit longer, because there goes Barry Baltas back up the inside. Artigas looking on as Alcoba fights back straight away to retake the lead. The next time they come around, there's just going to be 2 laps remaining.
Yeah, Alcoba there just holding on to the front, switching it back after Baltas went for the move at turn 10 as we come across the line with 2 laps to go.
You would have to fancy Xavi Artigas if he can get himself into second on the last lap.
Yes,
he's looked
100%.
so good into turn 10.
What's
and in fact, he's quite happy to stay there in 3rd place. He put his legs out there just to make sure that he blocked some of the slipstream, slowed himself down. He doesn't want to lead. And again, you can see him putting his elbows out, just bobbing above the bubble. He's quite happy there in 3rd place. That is interesting with 2 laps to go. He clearly feels confident.
I was going to say that is pure confidence from the youngster there in the battle with 2 more experienced riders in front of him. Not that much more, but, well, Alcoba a lot more experienced than the number 24. But, yeah, showing great signs of maturity there. Just to stay calm, 2 laps to go. You're in the battle for the race lead. Don't do anything silly, as we see Earnchu still leading that gaggle for 4th.
I'm not sure if it is maturity. If he had just 1 man in front of him and he felt he had the pace, then maybe I can see the tactics. But with 2 men in front of you, with just a lap and a half remaining, it's easier said than done to make a move on 2 people. Maybe he feels he can get the slipstream and draft his way past into the final corner, into the first corner, sorry, on the last lap, and then he's got the pace to pull away from there. We'll have to wait and see. But we're coming round into turn 9 for the penultimate time, and Alcoba has himself a bit of a lead there. It's a good run through 7 and 8 from Alcoba, and Baltas isn't in touching distance. He's going to close in with the slipstream and look for a move up the inside, but it's not going to be enough. Alcoba's going to hold on. And unless there's a lunge during the stadium sector on this penultimate lap, it will be the number 52 to lead us out onto the final lap. Meanwhile, Earnchu holds on to 4th place, but he has got Tatai and Yamanaka for company in the battle for 4th. It would be a best finish of the season and a long overdue top 5 finish for Denis Earnchu so far this year. But we will be concentrating on the trio at the front. Alcoba will lead us across the line with Baltas behind and Artigas tucked in 3rd. The fight for the win is going to go down to the wire here in Barcelona. 3 riders to battle it out. There's the battle for 4th place, but let's see what's happening at the front on the way into the first corner. Here it is. Baltas and Artigas all in line astern. They now spread out, and Baltas will look up the inside, but no way through. Alcoba's strong, so he'll hold it through turns 1 and 2 on the final lap. Yeah,
Alcoba incredibly strong there on the brakes. I thought Artigas was going to try and take a look, but no, he bobbed up just before the 2 in front of him. So where are the race leaders going to make their move? It's turn 4, a good opportunity for Baltas. He's tucked in the slipstream, but is he going to make a move here? Not sure he will. Let's have a look. No, Alcoba's going to keep it with Artigas just off the back.
That is the Leglis Academy squad with one of the men in there hoping for divine intervention to help Jeremy Alcoba across the line here. Artigas has just been tailed off the back.
Yeah,
A bit of a bobble into turn 4 means that he's out of touch in distance now. His tactics haven't paid off after slowing himself down the start-finish straight. It looks at the moment as if it's going to come down to these two, Baltas and Alcoba, with Alcoba just holding on. I paused because I just thought for a second Baltas was going to make a lunge. It's going to come down to turn 10. Baltas much closer than he was last time around. A good run out of turn 9 is what he's got as well, tuck in behind the 52. We've seen the Husqvarna be strong. It's a defensive line held from Alcoba. Is the room around the outside for Baltas? Alcoba late on the brakes. Is he going to run wide? He's just about going to hold us. Here comes Baltas, though. Can he dive through at turn 11? No way through there. Alcoba holds on. Only 3 corners remaining. We're into turn 12. Alcoba still holding on. Baltas is surely going to make a move, though. Into the penultimate corner now, just 1 to go. He's going to come down to the run towards the line unless Baltas can get a dive under here. He looks up the inside, no way through as that cost him his run towards the line. The number 52 of Jeremy Alcoba leads. Can Baltas beat him towards the line? No, he can't. After a penalty cost him victory earlier in the day, finally Alcoba has his revenge and takes the victory he should have had earlier in the day. The number 52 with his first win of the season, and Baltas again has to settle for second place, beaten out by Tatai in the earlier race, this time by Alcoba. And as a result, he extends his championship lead. There's Jeremy Alcoba, a great ride from Xavi Artigas. The young man onto the podium once again for the second time this season. And in the end, it was disaster for Earnchew. We thought he was on course for 4th place. He's eventually come across the line in 8th. Carlos Tatai taking 4th with Ryusa Yamanaka, Gerard Riou and Stefano Nepa. And Earnchew, we thought he was on for a best finish of the season. In fact, he's just matched it. 8th place in the end for Earnchew. Well, let's talk about the podium finishes. Baltas pushed him all the way, but a superb last lap from Jeremy Alcoba. Held them off at turn 1, held them off into turn 10, and then got the run towards the line. Perfect final lap from the Spaniard to take victory in the Junior World Championship. Artigas, he will have his time. I've absolutely no doubts about that. Just 15 years of age, the reigning European Talent Cup champion. Yet to take victory in Junior World Championship, but I think we can safely say it's a matter of when, not if. A superb talent, the number 24, as part of the Leopard Junior squad. Picks up his flag, the number 43, gets a tap on the helmet. Another podium finish for him this season. And look at that, a 3-way wheelie from Earnchew, from Alcoba and from Gerard Riou. Celebrations in Barcelona. And finally, since the last round of 2016, as we mentioned earlier, Husqvarna have won a Junior World Championship race, and quite rightly as well, because their bike looks super strong even on the final lap, despite the Honda of Artigas and the KTM of Baltas trying the level best, tucked in behind the Husqvarna of Alcoba all the way down the start finish straight. They couldn't find a way past the grunt, the horsepower of that number 52. So 6 points now, the championship lead for him as we move on to Aragon in just over a month's time. But another good ride from Baltas, another double podium for him, sees him closing to just 6 points adrift of Jeremy Alcoba. Yuki Kuni, who disappointingly suffered an injured right wrist, a broken right wrist at Mugello in the Red Bull Rookies, will shuffle down the order, and that is the worst he could have hoped for coming into this weekend. Jeremy Alcoba and Barry Baltas, both closest to him in the championship fight, picking up double podium finishes. But there's a long way to go in this one, and after the form that Yuki Kuni showed in the earlier rounds, do not rule him out from winning this championship at all. But delight for Alcoba. Great scenes in Parc Fermé. The number 52 finally manages to park up in Parc Fermé next to the number 1. And he had to work for that one as well. Here's the final lap. Baltas looking for a move at turn 11, and then at turn 12 there was no room whatsoever. A perfect final sector from the Husqvarna man means that he holds off to take victory for the Leglise Academy squad. The run to the line as well, despite Baltas using all of the track possible to get the best run he could. In the end he falls short by just 52 thousandths of a second. That's the Samakata Angel Nieto squad. Not the greatest day for them. 2 second place finishes for Baltas. I'm sure won't be too bad once they reflect on it, but certainly the disappointment for Relais View, having crashed out of the first one and then technical problems in This one sees him take away 0 points despite being second on the grid. And there is Barry Baltus celebrating with his team, including Nico Terol. There's a couple of the European Talent Cup riders in there as well. There's Ivan Ortola in the background, David Alonso there as well. And Barry Baltus, of course, named after the great Barry Sheene. That's why he runs the number 7, and you might have got a quick glance at the back of his helmet, the number 7 in the same style that Barry Sheene rode all those years ago. And there is Xavi Artigas, the last of the podium finishers. 3rd place for him. 2nd podium in the Junior World Championship, and super consistent so far. 2nd, 5th, 4th, 7th, and then he was right in contention if it wasn't for that mistake for Aleix Vieux in the first race, but he's got back onto the podium to make up for the loss of points in race 1. He'll keep himself in the title hunt just about, but it certainly looks like Alcoba and Baltus have broken clear and taken full advantage of Yuki Cooney not being with us this weekend. Well, let's head down to Parc Fermé. We can hear from the race winner, Jeremy Alcoba, alongside Elliot York.
Jeremy, your first win this season, Husqvarna's first win in the Moto3 Junior World Championship. What a race.
Yes, the last victory past 2 years. This victory is for my team, it's for my family and the people to help me and support me every day. I'm really happy because I need this victory for me, for the team. For the championship, I think it's really important, and this is the first, and in the future I prefer more.
Y en español.
Estoy muy contento porque de la última victoria han pasado 2 años. Estoy muy contento porque creo que es un golpe en la mesa y mucha moral para mí y para el equipo. Creemos que esta será o podrá ser la primera de muchas. Dar las gracias al equipo, los sponsors y a toda la gente que ha estado siempre a mi lado.
Gracias.
A delighted Jeremy Alcoba finally managing to stand on the top step of the podium. Meanwhile, this is how it all unfolded. Aleix Vieux, after 3 attempts, couldn't get out onto the grid. This was on the warm-up lap, had to push it back. The Angel Nieto squad worked at it again, but unfortunately it wasn't 3rd time lucky for him. At the front, meanwhile, Denis Ernchou started from pole position once again and got a superb start from the front of the grid. There's Aleix Vieux, unfortunately to the dismay of the marshals in the background, not able to join the race. At the front, Ernchou led for a while, but he was under quite a bit of pressure from Alcoba, Barry Baltus there, and Xavi Artigas, who again had managed to make his way through from the 3rd row of the grid. We had 8 riders all dicing it out at the front in a huge scrap with positions and moves been put in pretty much at every corner. Stefano Nepa then slipped out of contention after a mistake there, and then this move from Ryusi Yamanaka under the inside of Carlos Tatai and Denis Ernchou split the race wide open with the opening 3 riders, the leading 3 riders of Alcoba, Artigas and Baltus able to break clear. Alcoba held it at the front as they went into the final laps. Meanwhile, the scrap for 4th place went on behind with Ernchou under pressure, but the perfect final lap from Jeremy Alcoba held off Barry Baltus and Xavi Artigas to take his first win in almost 2 years in the Junior World Championship and take a stranglehold of the championship lead. Now 6 points clear before we head to Aragon in a month's time. So here is confirmation of the results, with Alcoba in P1 only just ahead, 52 thousandths of a second, the narrowest of margins ahead of Barry Baltus. Xavi Artigas not far behind as well, a good ride from him up to 3rd place. A mistake that we didn't unfortunately see from Ernchou on the final lap meant that although he held 4th place, he eventually got shuffled back to 8th in the KTM rider, with Carlos Tatai making it a win and a 4th place from the 2 races today. A good day's work for him. Further down the field, Max Koffler took 10th place in that almighty scrap for the top 10. Kevin Zanoni just missing out in 11th, with Max Cook, Hikaru Arita also picking up points finishes. Good work from the junior talent team man Max Cook on his opening foray to Barcelona. Further down the field, Jason de Pasquet was one of the men to be handed a penalty and finished 19th as a result. But at the front it was Alcoba who took victory, followed by Baltas and Artigas. We'll wait for them to take the place on the podium here in Barcelona. First it will be Xavi Artigas to make his way out. Cheers for him, as there are for Barry Baltas and Jeremy Alcoba as well. And a delighted team manager of the Leglise Academy squad. We saw him with 2 laps to go, looking up to the sky, hoping that Alcoba could hold on for the race win, and that's exactly what he did in the end. So he will, I'm sure, be delighted to pick up this team award via the president of the Circuit Barcelona-Catalunya. Points down to the squad below for all their hard work and effort this week, and over the past couple of years as well, to see them finally move on to the top of the box. A representative of the title sponsors Repsol hand over another podium finish trophy to Xavi Artigas. And it's another second place finish here in Catalonia for Barry Baltas. Lost out by a handful of thousandths of seconds to Carlos Tatai in race 1. And again in race 2, this time to Alcoba. Not that you can tell though, a double podium delight for Barry Baltas. And after taking the checkered flag in race 1 and being handed a 1.6 second penalty to his dismay, he's bounced back and got his revenge in race 2. And once again, Jeremy Alcoba is a Junior World Championship race winner. After what I'm sure has for him felt like an eternal wait, he is back on top. The check from Repsol as well. And now the Spanish national anthem for your race winner in the Junior World Championship, Jeremy Alcoba. The first time in quite a while that Alcoba has been able to enjoy his own national anthem on the top step of a Junior World Championship podium. Now as they pose for the pictures before the fizzy water gets sprayed here in Barcelona. In terms of the statistics when it comes to Husqvarna, who have obviously just taken victory, it's the first one for them since a man that we saw earlier, Raul Fernandez, the reigning Junior World Champion, took victory at Valencia in 2016. Lorenzo Dalla Porta on that day, his teammate, was second. So if Alcoba can follow in the footsteps of the likes of Raul Fernandez and Lorenzo Dalla Porta, we won't go too bad at all. First win since the first round of 2017. Almost 2.5 years he's had to wait. But finally, he's on top once again. And as a result, he's now 6 points clear in the championship standings over Barry Baltas. Yuki Cooney, 28 points adrift now. He holds on to 3rd place. So disappointing for him, but speaking to him yesterday, he's confident he'll be back to full fitness by the time we get to Aragon. Xavi Artigas, 29 points adrift as well, so any of those top 4 are just a race win or so away from the championship lead. And as we've seen so far this season, anything really can happen. You can get caught up in somebody else's incident so easily, and as a result end up with no points at all. Further down the field, Max Cook there, a part of the junior talent team squad. 24th, thanks to 10 points, another 3 to his total today. And also Mario Adju obviously isn't here this weekend as well, following a crash on Thursday. He broke his left wrist, unlike the right wrist of Yuki Cooney. Remains on the 13 points that he picked up during the opening races of the season. So we're here at the Circuit Barcelona-Catalunya. We've just got the one race left for you. The European Moto2 Championship won at a canter by Edgar Pons earlier in the day. But with 17 laps up for grabs this time around, and Montoya, Tooley, Garzo all proving that they have got the pace to challenge. Hopefully it won't be as comfortable for Edgar Pons this time around, where pit lane will be opening very shortly in about 30 seconds time. We're edging on to 3 o'clock local time here in Barcelona. We've had 4 belters so far, 2 Junior World Championship races that have gone right down to the wire, a European Talent Cup race which was superb as well. Moto2, now time for you guys to step up. The European Moto2 Championship is the last on the bill here in Barcelona. We'll be bringing you live coverage very shortly, live from the circuit. Stay with us.